as the sun, I feel what you don't say. Scorpio moon, I see through the gray. I'm tuned to your soul, I read the unseen. 8th house mind, 12th house dreams. Tarot in my hands, planets in my sight. I decode the dark, turn shadow to light.
Hello, welcome, and it's me, Danyell Carmelita, your favorite tarot reader and astrologer. If you want to know the weekly astrology, you're at the right place. Destiny meets action. This week is all about realizing something important about your path and then taking action on it. We're continuing on from last week, but there is a huge emphasis from Pisces energy, intuitive, spiritual awareness, karmic conversations, emotional clarity, being in a fog, addiction, illusions, ending, forgiving, releasing. And we're turning that energy into Spring Equinox, which is also Aries season. And that's turning into the beginning of things, starting new, fresh starts, courage, new beginnings, bold moves, decisive action. So the message this week, if you want to know, is listen to the signs and then quickly move on. Okay. A lot of people may be feeling this in the universe and it's giving them a nudge for their purpose and direction, especially because we have the North Node involved here. Okay. So we're going to get quickly started because I came late and I have to go pick up my daughter at the same time, but I wanted to fit you in. Okay. So March 17th. Today is March 16th as I'm filming this live. Mercury is going to retrograde and it's going to conjunct the North Node. We've already felt this. It's repeating because Mercury is going backwards, okay? Venus is on the 18th going to square Jupiter. We also have the Pisces New Moon, and that would be at 28 degrees. We'll discuss that. March 20th is when we have Spring Equinox. That's when the sun enters Aries. So happy solar return to all my Aries. Wait, what's this? Oh, I didn't know I had that sound, but let's give them a applause. Aries season, such an important season for not just you, Aries, but for the collective. So you guys are the starters, okay? And Mercury stations direct in Pisces. Let's give that. That one actually is really like, thank God, okay? That is March 20th. On the 21st, Mars is going to trine Jupiter. And on the 22nd, the sun is, well, once it enters Aries, but if you want to be anal, the sun will conjunct Neptune, and then Mercury will conjunct the North Node. So here we are again, repeating steps, just sitting there. Okay, so let's get into it. March 17th. Oh, let me bring up my chart here. Okay, so March 17th, you guys can see the chart, but I need to see it. Okay, so March 17th, we have Mercury, and it's sitting very close to, well, they're sitting on top of each other, the North Node. We've had this for a few. Last week we had this. Mars was involved. You see, Mars was like at 8 degrees. Now it's leaving. This is actually the 17th. You see there exactly at 8 degrees. Anyway, so Mercury meeting, it's going to represent your future direction. Everyone's talking about what should I do? What am I meant to do? You're feeling it and you're having conversations about it, or you're planning it. This is also not just like what you're meant to do, right? It's also some destiny, karmic discussions. So for example, I'll give an example, right? Same thing. I was talking to a mom and she was saying, "Oh, my daughter didn't get into this program and that program." But she said, I thought about it and I'm like, maybe this was meant to be. So it's not just like you, but just maybe even other people around you and the destiny conversations that feel fated. So you're talking about this. Think about all arenas of your life. Like maybe I was meant to be here. Maybe I was meant to meet this person. People from the past could be resurfacing. Karmic messages are realizing things. Intuitive energy, very strong. Dreams. Are you been dreaming more? Write them down because there's the symbols, very Pisces energy. It means something. Because Mercury is retrograding, the message may come through something symbolically like a dream, or maybe someone you used to know, especially if you're a Pisces. Okay, revisiting maybe an old idea. Maybe you found a paper from the past and you're like, whoa, what is this paper? This paper means something. Remember, it's something you forgot. Reconnecting with someone important from your past. Just know something from your past, something is brought up. God is planning, throwing down some seeds here in the universe, and that is what that um, North Node conjunct Mercury. North Node means moving forward, releasing the things of the past, because Mercury is opposing the South Node, and that's in Virgo. So releasing being perfect, we're releasing analyzing people, being critical of yourself and others or the situation. Yeah, details. Do we need to pay attention to the details? Does it have to be a tangible thing, or can it be just your feeling? Okay. Also, a lot of compassion and love and oneness. Okay. So that's what we have on the 17th. We've had that very strong last week because we had Mars involved. Now we just have Mercury. So a lot is still discussions over it. Now on the 18th, we have officially, which you're already feeling this as Monday, okay? We have Venus in the sign Aries, and it is squaring Jupiter in the sign Cancer, okay? Both of these are benefic planets, meaning that they're very positive. Oh, you know what? I need to always check the volume because I've had issues every time, not every time, sometimes with the volume. So I need to be aware of that. Anyway, Venus squaring Jupiter, whatever it touches, it amplifies. Jupiter is moving forward, so that means things are going to get bigger. It's not retrograding anymore. But you can have themes of overspending, indulgence, dramatic, romantic energy, people wanting more attention or affection, maybe big gestures of love. Squares cause tension or challenge. So maybe it's too good to be true. Maybe you're, I don't want to say overly optimistic, but like the luck is here, and then, but maybe the good luck brings something bad luck. If that makes any sense, or there's a challenge here. Saying, oh, Jupiter also overextends, like you overpromise, you overdo. Saying too much emotionally, it's in Cancer, sensitive, overly sensitive. Maybe someone at a party is very aggressive or is very impulsive in the things that they do, or how their actions are displaying, or the energy is very impulsive and aggressive, and people are sensitive about it. Okay, because Venus does represent a party or a social event of some sort. Spending impulsively, relationship dramas, overreaction. At the same time, this transit could add some fun and passion. So because usually these are very positive, and a lot of astrologers believe that it's not negative. Let me know if you're feeling something like this and it's positive, but there is like this interesting challenge to it. I'm always curious about Venus and Jupiter when they enter the picture, because they're both benefic planets, and they're usually, from what I learned in astrology, is that the challenge is, at the beginning, but it ends up being positive. Like I said, like, I'm meant to be here. I'm meant to have this bad news, but it ends up being positive. Something like that. Okay. So on the 18th, we also have this new moon in Pisces, and the new moon will officially touch that sun at 28 degrees. If you've seen my previous video of Israel, Iran, 28 degrees, we had that eclipse at 28 degrees. Very interesting. Then they did the first attack on a February 28th. So here we are. And then when Mars hit 28 degrees in Aquarius is when we had it. But that makes sense because it hit the eclipse. But now we have a new moon at 28 degrees. 28 is no freaking chill. Okay. So this is 24 Pisces, 26, 27, 28. That is a more Gemini energy. So a lot of communication, a lot of I would think change, like duality energy with this. Let me see what else. Communication, duality. Yeah, multiple things, because Gemini represents a lot of options. Very social, very highly communicative, communication across all boards, like social media, email, text, verbally coming out your mouth, a phone call, something like that. Okay, so you have this. So maybe this is something that you're writing down. You're writing down your goals, because whenever you have a new moon, it sets a new standard. You can do some manifestation, and it looks pretty positive. Okay, the new moon is powerful because we're at that 28 degrees, and it's loosely a wide conjunction with this Mars. Okay, it is sextile Uranus, so the energy is positive if the communication and the intellect and being different and standing out is there. Okay, intuition, sudden change, emotional courage, following a spiritual calling, creative inspiration, emotional breakthroughs, sudden opportunities appearing unexpectedly. People finally taking action or something they've felt for a long time. This new moon says trust the feeling, because you're dealing with that Pisces energy, and you need to communicate it and you need to understand it at the same time with that energy here. There is some action here. So use the action. It's far away, but use the drive to pursue whatever it is new goals are. And the new moon officially is, let's give the time here. Let's see. Sun conjunct moon. What is this? Hold up. Wait a minute. It is officially going to be at 6:23 p.m. Hold up 1 second. My daughter on live. Okay, so March 20th, we have the spring equinox. And the sun, you see it's at 29 degrees in Pisces. So we're going to have some interesting. Okay, hold on. The family's calling. So let me play some interlude and then I'll come right.
Cancer sun, I feel what you don't say. Scorpio moon, I see through.
Okay, anyway, was it an emergency? Absolutely not. Teenagers are teenagers. Okay, so we have the spring equinox. And before we have that, we have the sun sitting at 29 degrees in Pisces. Just know that before we have the spring equinox on the 20th, on the 19th, there's going to be an urgency to shut things out in regarding releasing, forgiving, spirituality, religion. Let's see what Iran and Israel, because this is a close energy about religion and spirituality, sure, but a lot of closing. Pisces also represents death. It represents illusions. It represents romance. So an urgency to shut those things up, an addiction to ending of something. So we have that on the 19th. And then on Friday, we have the spring equinox. Aries season begins. This marks an astrological new year. If you didn't know, I have a video on the spring equinox saying what do we have to look forward as a collective. I think I did horoscopes too, so check out that video. I will hopefully link it down below. It's not already linked. This is a live video, but if I remember, I will link it down when I do the timestamps. But the energy shifts from reflection to action. Again, Aries is courage, it's independence, it's leadership, it's starting something new, it's asserting yourself. And now, when you have this sun entering Aries, it's setting a new year. Aries is the beginning of the astrological year. Pisces is the ending. So think of Pisces as December and Aries as January. Okay. So March 20th is a new year. You can also do some manifestation with that energy as well. Let me see. Pisces, I told you we go from intuition, reflection, endings, and now we are adding action, courage, independence, starting something new. And it's very positive for the collective. If you really are trying to be brave in a situation, this is a great time to do it. Now, once the sun enters Aries, it's going to have a close relationship with Neptune and Saturn. Neptune represents dreams, it represents imagination, it represents spirituality, and Neptune is the ruler of Pisces, so things that are very lost in the sauce as well. Saturn represents discipline. Saturn represents structure. It represents responsibility. It represents long-term goals, the old man, father of time, and karma. Okay. Now the sun is going to highlight it. The sun is going to bring the ego. It's like a Mars. It brings the drive and the physical energy, but it highlights a lot of things. So whatever the themes are in your dreams or in your imagination or with your creativity, when it comes to something long term, so this is about building a dream and thinking long term, having a reality to the dreams. The sun is going to highlight it and say, oh, let's shine a light and let's really focus on this. Okay. So when you have this together, it is really like building that dream, like I just said. I'm trying to think what else you can have. Spirituality, maybe a focus on spirituality or starting a new spiritual journey and thinking about being serious about that as well. Setting some boundaries when it comes to not having boundaries, because both of these things represents boundaries and not having them. What else? as a collective, because I like to do mundane astrology, this Saturn represents the government, Neptune represents illusions, and these in the sign Aries represents a leader or an individual or something new, and there could be something that the sun is going to shine bright on, and maybe we'll get some clarification on some things. Okay, so let's see how that goes. Mercury also this day, which is great to start off that new year, right? Astrological new year is still in a post shadow phase, but Mercury goes direct. You see, it stopped being red, so now we're moving forward. And during this retrograde, we are communicating. There's plans, there's decisions, there's contracts that can move forward in the themes of anything dealing with spirituality, forgiveness, things that were in the fog, addiction, things like that. Now, Pisces energy also too is the UFOs and space and all that stuff. I want you to know, but Pisces. Mercury doesn't really like to be in Pisces. Mercury likes to have the details and clarity. Mercury is the ruler of Virgo, and Virgo is the opposite sign of Pisces. So it really doesn't like to be here because Pisces is very lost in the communication, likes to speak in symbols and creativity and art forms and lala, where Virgo likes to be more tangible and have really realistic equations to things. So Mercury being Pisces is still a little confusing. But it won't be as confusing. I see a lot of people who are podcasters, YouTubers, TikTokers, a lot of people who use technology. They probably realize Mercury is retrograding, or they don't understand why their technology is not working. I understand. I have more patience, but this clears up as of March 20th. It lingers a little bit more for 2 more weeks, but the hardness of it reduces. And when Mercury enters leaves Pisces, it gets so much better. Okay. So be aware of that. March 21st, we have Mars now involved, and now we have positivity with Venus. We had Venus, I mean, not Venus, with Jupiter. Venus wasn't happy with Jupiter, but even though they're very happy people, also too, this could represent being overly optimistic about a relationship this week. That could be happening as well. Anyway, but Mars has now entered the building, and it's very positive. It's a trine, Mars and Jupiter trining. This is great because Mars is such a doomsday kind of energy. This is one of the most supportive transits of the week. Mars represents action, it represents motivation, it represents conflict. Now that conflict is going to be a little bit more positive. Maybe when there's supposed to be a conflict, it actually is a little bit more happier, caring, and really caring about others. Because that Jupiter likes to be more like, let's all live together and be happy and optimistic kind of energy. So confidence increases, opportunities appear, people feel more inspired to take action. There's progress and it becomes more clear. That happens as well. March 22nd. So if you have anything that you need to get done this week, Mars is sitting close to that trine in Jupiter. Very positive. Start it now because you can. Be very optimistic, be very positive, start thinking positive, especially when the things are of the past, dealing with your mom, dealing with your home, dealing with your private life, dealing with your security. This makes you, people being sensitive, this makes it all better. Now, this energy, both are water signs. When you have a water trine, you are talking about the intuition and spirituality. And remember what we have this week. So use the action to move forward in your life. Okay. March 22nd. We have the Sun conjunct Neptune officially. Again, this is creativity, this is inspiration, this is spiritual insight, this is idealism, this is about dreaming about your future. Now, conjunctions are good or bad, so we don't want to be any delulu. This may be some secrets coming up as well. There could be some confusions about a leader, maybe some misinformation as well. I said that earlier with the government and leader. So be aware of that. Any leader talking mess, I will be very judgmental of that or what they're saying, regardless if it's Trump or not. Just any type of leader, just be, leader not in the government world, but leader in like the leader of your, I don't know, PTA. Just be aware of that aggressive, assertive individual energy. There could be some deception there. Now we have March 22nd on the same day. We have Mercury still sitting with that North Node. Now the North Node is moving. So again, manifesting the future, meeting someone who is significant and that can help you with your path, maybe realizing a future step as well. So, what's so funny is because too, I was at a baby shower and I was talking to someone who was young, and I was like, "You're meant to do this." We were talking about something she was very creative at, and this is that energy. So this is me just telling randomly a complete stranger, like I don't know this person, and she was like, "I was thinking I was meant." Yes, you are, and I was being so assertive. Sometimes people, God just puts an angel in your face. And, I'm not saying like she's going to listen to me, but I'm saying it's literally something like that that can happen this week and that could happen from last week. Mercury's in the building now, so there is communication added to it. Okay, so let me just quickly throw out some signs here, so you guys can know. Will this affect me this week? Geminis, Mercury retrograding, Virgos, Mercury retrograding. It rules your energy. It is the ruler of Mercury and Gemini. So if you had any confusing plans, any mixed messages, any work reputation kind of energy, revisiting some decisions, Mercury is going direct. It should help you. Virgos, you had some relationship misunderstandings. Someone from your past resurfaced. You needed clarity about partnership or your equilibrium. Mercury is going to go direct. So you should be feeling better. Mercury in the sign Pisces retrograding really affected most of the mutable signs. So that's Sagittarius as well. So you were feeling something. And of course, a Pisces. You were feeling it the most. So just know that it goes direct if you were indecisive, back and forth, flip flopping, because Mercury likes to flip flop. Things get better when it goes direct, and especially when it leaves Pisces. Okay, so the mental fog, things about being reflective and repeating and redoing, clarity comes, there's answers, you're planning to move forward. Okay, now cardinal signs, you're going to be activated because the sun is entering Aries. Every time it's Aries season, there's activation for you, but you also have Neptune and Saturn there. But we'll just talk about the sun, okay? Because the sun moves faster and it takes a faster time to. Saturn moves slower. Neptune moves even slower. Okay. So you may not be feeling this energy with those planets as of yet, but the sun in Aries, you will be feeling it, and it's going to activate things for you. Things that are maybe a little challenge. Okay. So sun in Aries could be affecting the Cancers. Libras is opposing you. Capricorns, it could be something that there is a challenge here or adjustment. So just know that it could be something dealing with leadership or individuality, or your home life versus your the individual, or you being selfish versus your career, maybe starting something new in your career. But just know there's a challenge here. Okay. um Let me see what else I have. Yeah, so that is what we have basically this week. The signs are very supported. The signs, water energy is very strong this week. Then we move into the fiery Aries. A lot of manifestations this week, a lot about moving forward this week. Very positive for anything that you're trying to build and start new. Very, very positive, because you're talking about manifesting with the new moon in Pisces. You're talking about spring equinox. All this week, it's about starting new and communicating about that starting new, writing it down, maybe even beginning to learn something new, because that Mercury is the beginning steps of learning something. So there is also that. Mercury also represents the youth, and it's very strong with social media. Remember, it's the new moon is sextile Uranus, so there is an intellectual energy. Anything dealing with social media will work really good with manifestation. So it's almost like if someone said, you know what, I'm going to say my goals online, that will really work well. And then maybe people commenting and saying, oh, well, I think you should do that. Maybe there's a sign there. So just something like that. Be aware. Now, on the flip side, on the negative side, try not to overspend. Okay. Try not to be very impulsive with some decisions. Sensitivity, emotions at a party with a female, just maybe understands that the star is not aligned with that energy. This is not the time to confront a female, aka the Venus, aggressive female, or a single female. Makes me think of, I was just watching on Instagram Tiana Taylor, and she's like, you shouldn't put your hands on a female. She will represent a Venus Aries, right? She seems very strong, assertive, independent, right? And yeah, and then there's an issue here. with her physical security. That is a great example there. So just be aware of that. Any rumors and lies with the Mercury retrograding, be aware of that. Okay. Still read the fine print until 2 weeks after it clears. Let me see. This week begins with the intuition and karmic relationships, realizations, but the spring equinox and the energy shifts toward action. So listen to any signs this week and it will work for you. On my private community, I have not put the next video that's coming up is going to be Aries season, and I have to put in my private community great days to do a lot of things during Aries season, like when to make money, when to do a great business, and when to fall in love or talk to that guy or take opportunities in a different light. So look forward to that if you're in my paywall. And if you are just here watching free, if you're just here and like, I like my free stuff, next video should be on the March astrology and horoscopes, or maybe even pick a card. Yeah, and then what else do I have? I think that's it. Oh, I said to watch this video and link to my spring equinox video. It gives you the horoscopes. It talks about what we're in for this week. I need to do a video on Trump and what he's up to as well. Anyway, but that's what we have. I will see. Oh, wait, no, I didn't pull the cards for this week. Let me pull some cards. I was almost out. Okay, let me see. Okay, we have these. Okay, so what we have for the collective this week, we have the High Priestess. The High Priestess is all about the intuitive energy. What is the unknown? What are you feeling? That is the wisdom, okay? So really following your gut, your intuition, and your intuition does not lead off of fear. For the people in the back, intuition does not lead off of fear. So if you're like scared of something, you're like, this is going to happen because I feel like it's so scary. That's not your intuition. Intuition is like it whispers in a very calm way. For example, one time years ago, and this was like just a great example, right? Because my intuition was saying, you know what? I'm going out of town. I need to take these plants off of this counter because there could be an earthquake. And I thought of it so calmly, like an earthquake, but I wasn't going to be here. But I said, let me take these plants down because there could be literally, it was like 10 earthquakes in a week, within 1 week. But that's what I'm saying. They're very calm. Anyway, okay. So what else do we have? We have the Two of Pentacles. This is juggling a lot. This is having a lot of options. This is if you are trying to figure out, should I do both? This saying yes this week, do both. This represents duality and an exchange of something, okay? So also too, that person's on land and are also dealing with water. So tangible and very physical items, also dealing with spiritual, intuitive items as well. And then lastly, we have the 10 of swords. This one here is about releasing and ending. This is the beginning of an end for you. This is also some backstabbing with some words. That's very Mercury and Pisces energy. But this is towards the end. Okay. So anyone who's talking cray cray about you this week, it shall be lifted and you will feel like, what? But it's the end of it. So you get it, and it's also the end of it. This is also feeling like someone's talking about you behind your back. This is also having those negative thoughts and leaving them behind. Okay. Yeah, what else do we have? Move forward. Try not to, let me add a card to this. Try to think positive, be confident, be brave, start something new. Maybe this is someone doing an individual journey as well this week. All right. That's what we have for you. I hope you guys enjoyed. I will see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye bye.